The date is Wednesday, October 11, 2023. It's 2:06 p.m. Shall I repeat that? Okay. This meeting is called to order. It's Wednesday, October 11, 2023. It's 2:06 p.m. In compliance with Public Law 24-109, Guam Ancestral Lands Commission published a public meeting announcement for Wednesday, October 11, 2023 in the Guam Daily Post on Wednesday, October 4th, 2023 and Monday, October 9th, 2023. Director, roll call.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Chairman Eclavea,
Present.
Vice Chairman Laguarnia. Mr. Chair, Vice Chair Laguarnia informed me that he might not be able to attend today's meeting. He has a conflict of schedules.
Okay, noted.
Okay, Secretary Treasurer Cruz.
We just lost her.
She was on, maybe she's having difficulties. I'll move on. Commissioner Camacho,
Here.
Commissioner Orlino,
Here.
Commissioner Rios,
Here.
Commissioner Wesley.
Here.
Okay, let's see. I don't see Commissioner or Secretary Treasurer Cruz just yet. Let me see. She said she accidentally logged out. She'll be logging right back in. Okay, so she's coming back in. But Mr. Chair, you do have at this time 5 commissioners logged in and 1 more that will be logging on. So you do have a quorum.
Sujus Masi, Director, thank you. And welcome everybody once again. It's been a while. Okay, let's move on to the approval of minutes. That's item 3. August 9, 2023 regular meeting.
Hello? Can you hear me?
There
Oh,
you
yes.
are.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I'd like to acknowledge that Secretary Treasurer Cruz is back on. Logged in.
Welcome back, Commissioner. Welcome back. We're on
Thank you.
item the approval of minutes right now.
Mr. Chair,
Madam Secretary,
I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to approve the August 9, 2023 regular meeting, subject to corrections per audio recordings for that meeting.
okay, motion on the floor to approve the September 9 meeting. We'll hear a second. I'm sorry, that was August 9 meeting.
Mr. Chairman, this is Commissioner Westling. I second Commissioner Cruz's motion.
Okay, we have a second for the approval of the minutes, August 9 minutes. All in favor? Aye.
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 Any nays? Any nays?
Aye.
Okay, no nays. Director, motion passes.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, let's move down to item 4. Director's report.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. First off is our FY 2024 budget. What was also previously known as Public Law 3742, the General Appropriations Act of 2024. It has removed the Ancestral Lands Commission from the Government of Guam's general fund again. We have concerns regarding the adequacy of the FY 24 Commission, Ancestral Lands Commission budget appropriation of $444,396 from the Commission's SID account. This includes 50% of the net proceeds of the lease of lot 10192, which is the AT&T lease, to provide us an annual sustained income to cover our current operations. I gave you a breakdown in my report of the lease proceeds and the budget detail. First, our annual gross lease proceeds from the Polaris properties amount to $444,396. And then after the 14.3% for Gita's service fee, the net amount will be $380,848. 50% of the annual gross lease proceeds from AT&T amount to $134,360, with a net after deducting Gita service fee of results with $115,147. The total net lease proceeds from both Polaris and the AT&T leases combined equal $495,995, which represents our total operating budget. The GLC salary and benefits alone amount to $443,092. Therefore, we have a budget shortfall of $100,871. The Ancestral Lands Commission FY 24 budget request was for $596,865, which reflects an increase over last year's FY 23's budget of about $98,143. And this increase was primarily attributed to the following 4 factors. One is the employment of an administrative assistant. This position was allowed for when for FY 23 when the legislature appropriated $90,000 for us to increase our staff and to help take care of our records here. So we employed one new employee. The other was an adjustment to the executive director's salary. And the third will be the regular salary increments. And fourth, of course, would be the big one, the implementation of the 22% personnel services pay increase. So with all of that, we will be short. We're looking into tapping into our lapses from the previous years, which we're allowed to do. And Kathy's working at it at this moment. So at this time, what we have done is because we report directly to DOA, we submitted a budget allotment releases to fund only the first 3 quarters of FY24. Hopefully we'll find the money in our lapses. I have confidence that Kathy will look into that. We have never spent the total amount of our operational budget at any of the fiscal years since I've been here. So I believe we may have the 100,000 or so in there somewhere. But the problem with this is I'd like us to remain on what we call a sustained income, sustained annual income, so that whatever money we spend out of the SID account is automatically replaced through our lease proceeds. If we start dipping into the SID by going back and pulling out our lapse funds, that will bring our SID account down significantly. Okay, and then next part is we'll be on the FEMA application summary. We did apply for grants from FEMA for the damage we received from Typhoon Mawar. Kathy's been collecting information with and documenting things with FEMA to secure funding for repairs and improvement of the following damaged ancestral lands facilities. The first one will be the building 156100 at TGen. That's the Public Health WIC office. We're asking for a grant to help us repair any roof damage, ceiling tiles damages, any damages to windows, flooring, and multiple rooms that were caused by flooding and water entering through the windows. They also had some electrical damage, and the generator, which was being used for repairs, was also was damaged. Building 156101, that's TGen, the EPA, the Guam EPA building. The electrical system received some damage, which resulted in complete loss of power. Their AC system, the HVAC system, was damaged. They had some damage to the roof and ceiling tiles due to flooding, and also along the floor, tile damage in multiple rooms. Windows and doors have also been affected. And the third one is the Tangisan Cable Station. That's the AT&T property. They too had problem with their HVAC units. It sustained damage from high winds, causing them to detach from the building. The AC chillers were also damaged. The roof received some damage also. The administrative office and conference rooms were flooded. External doors, lighting posts, and exterior CCTV cameras were damaged by the strong winds. So Kathy is looking into this right now with FEMA, and we're hope to receive a grant to help us with the repairs on those facilities. Our account balances were attached, for your review. You could see with that we have over $16 million in various accounts with BGIS, Raymond James, Coast 360, and Bank of Hawaii. Most of the increases in funds from with Coast 360, if you see any increases in those amounts, basically that's from deposits from leases that we've been collecting every month. With BGIS and Raymond James, the increase in those amounts that you see there have been due mostly to interest income. So with those two investment firms, we've been receiving at least on a minimum about 5.5% interest annually, while those at Coast 360 are still at less than 0.5%. And of course, Bank of Hawaii, that basically should be with the attorneys of the families that are going through probate. those funds will stay there, but for some reason, they would prefer to keep it here with the accounts with ancestral lands. That's my report, so thank you for this opportunity to present to you the update. If you have any questions, you need more information, I'm open right now for it. Thank you.
Just Masi, Director. Can we get an update on the status of Kathy's work with FEMA regarding the repairs?
Kathy? Could you report on that?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We unfortunately, because of the storm, I'm working closely with GITA, the people at GITA, Tony and Megan, to be specific. We had previously scheduled our inspection of the damages that were reported by our tenants. The inspections were scheduled on Monday and Tuesday. Unfortunately, because of the storm, we're unable to do the inspection. We have another meeting. We have meetings with the FEMA representatives every Thursday here in the office at 2:00. Our next meeting, of course, is tomorrow at 2:00. So far, application looks promising. It looks good, actually. We just have to we just have to make sure that everything that FEMA is requesting of us is what we give them. We're also, the reason for us doing the inspection prior to FEMA doing their inspection is so that we would like to confirm their report. Their previous assessment report did not match the second report that we had sent out. We had requested for a second assessment report, and some of the agencies, their primary report did not match their secondary report. So what we decided to do, Tony, Megan, and myself, is that we decided to go out there and actually look at the facilities ourselves so that we can better submit our report to FEMA. Because once we submit our report, we can go ahead and make adjustments along the way. But right now, what we have to do is we have to submit our report based on the damages that we sustained during the war. So nothing prior, nothing after. But it looks good. Our application looks promising.
Thank you, Kathy. Very good. Any questions, further questions for her regarding that? Okay, none. Any questions regarding the budget?
This is Commissioner Westling. The executive director's report made reference to commission's account balances for review, and I was just wondering where is that attached to?
Kathy,
I'm
the
gonna
account
go ahead,
balances?
because I think Mara didn't include it, boss, but I'm gonna send it now.
Send it now.
I think it's connected with the. I think it's connected with the. It's attached with the agenda. I believe. Or is
With the
that
agenda?
different?
It
Yeah.
should,
With the minutes.
Oh, it's with the minutes. Yeah,
Oh, it's with
At
the
the end.
minutes?
with the
Yeah.
minutes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Very end.
Okay.
That's
I saw it. Yeah.
Okay.
You want to take a little bit to examine it, Commissioner?
Thank you. That's okay. This is attachment B.
Let's see where we're at. At the bottom of the
think,
page.
right?
Yeah.
No, hold on. Maybe I'm not scrolling down far enough. Sorry.
Kathy, could you look for it and resend that one document?
It is attached to the minutes. I can see it.
Yes, sir.
So which attachment? Yeah, probably attachment B, correct?
I see the staffing costs, program directors. I'm not seeing.
Kathy, resend that thing.
Sorry, I don't see it.
Yes, Commissioner, I believe it
think-
is labeled attachment B.
Yeah, it's attachment B. I can see it right here
It's attachment B.
on the minutes. On the bottom of the page.
Yeah, okay. My attachment B says, this has a breakdown of salaries and overtime, retirement, benefits. That's what my attachment B has. I don't have account balances from the banks.
However, the numbers for the budget and the operation should be there, correct? Including
Hey,
the
could I share my screen with you while Kathy's trying to find a document?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Excuse me, are we looking for the
Okay,
budget?
yeah,
or
I don't
looking
Hey,
have
can
this
you
one. I can see this. Thank you very much. And I'm sorry, I didn't have this in my packet. With
Okay.
attached to the minutes. I just have the attachment
So-
B, which was all of the
Yeah,
staffing
This is
positions.
not-
Okay, thank you.
this is not listed as attachment B, just attachment.
Right,
It
I
says
don't have
Official
that.
Lands Commission,
Mhm.
September 25. You see that now?
Yes, thank you
Okay.
very much. Thank you.
Okay. And Kathy will send out a copy to you separately on this, but this is
Okay.
what you should have received in your packet.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Okay, thank you, Director.
I can stop sharing?
Yes, you can stop sharing for me. I don't know about anybody else.
Okay. Commissioners,
We're good.
We're
you're
good.
good? Okay. You received that, it may have been left out of your packet.
Yeah,
So we're doing good as far as our balances,
Yes,
in
we
the
are.
bank. It's only an operational account. I mean, we are pulling in a lot of money. It's just that the legislature controls how much of that. And in order that we can use for operations, but in order to have a sustained income over the years to come, I mean, not just for FY 24, I believe we will find the needed funds in our lapses. But for FY 25, 26 and moving forward, we should have a sustained annual income of leases that we can use or identify for use for operations to keep our operations moving. And that's if we're not going to be placed on the general fund. In the past, when I came in, we weren't on the general fund, but in 2023, the legislature felt that they needed us to improve on our operations and allowed us provided us some general fund money. So I was assuming that that would continue forward. Apparently it did not. But so apparently we should request for a public hearing, perhaps on one of our leases, so we could provide more income, to keep this office operating at its current staff level without any increases to it. Right now, the legislature felt that we could use 50% of the AT&T lease, but it leaves us short 100,000. We would need 100% of that one particular lease in order to move forward with a sustained income, throughout the year. So we do have some funds in our SID account that are called lapses that we've held over the years because we've never spent up to the total amounts that we've been appropriated. We've been very extremely frugal on how much money that we spend, especially coming from our special funds the Survey Infrastructure and Development Fund.
Okay, so Director, just to clarify, it's not automatic with the city account, right? It has to
No.
definitely be approved by the legislature.
Yes, the leases that we use towards operations, and the amount that we can pull out of the city account, it's not automatic. It needs legislative approval. So while we do raise our own funds, to access those funds, we need legislative approval to do so. And I was hoping they would allow us to pull out enough to continue our operations throughout all 4 quarters of FY24. Something happened along the way, and we have enough to operate for the first 3 quarters. So that's what we allotted for this year. Hopefully before the 4th quarter, we'll meet with the legislature, with our chairperson, and work this out and explain to her what needs to be done. And I think she has the best at heart. She wants us to place as much funds as we can into the land bank, so that eventually when we figure out who the beneficiaries are, we can submit the land bank rules and regs and start making payments. So I see that, and I agree with that, but we do need an office to operate to accomplish that. And right now we have a very good staff here that's able to accomplish whatever we need. But as you all know, it's the minimal amount of operation of staff that we have here in our office. So, you know, we're going to need a little help by allowing us to pull more money out of the city account, or providing another lease, like the AT&T lease or some other lease, to provide those proceeds, or allow those proceeds to be used for operations, if we're not going to be placed on the general fund. So for FY24, we're not on the general fund.
Okay, so Director, let's just, we're good for now. But
We're good
I
for
know
now.
we just need to address it. So keep us
Yes.
abreast on how things progress. You know, and
Oh, yeah.
what we need to do.
We'll get through.
Okay.
We'll get
So-
through this year, one way or the other. We've got it. We'll figure it out. Like I said, we're looking at our lapses, because the budget law
lapses,
allows
yeah.
us to use our lapses. And because we've been extremely frugal in the way we spent in the prior years, I believe we have enough lapses to carry us forward. But for sustained annual income, so that we can carry forward in future fiscal years, not just FY24. We should start discussions with the senators and explain to them that, we need to be able to use, everything, the cost of everything is going up. We just had a massive 22% increase in salaries. To accommodate that, we need to be allowed to use more money from our lease proceeds. It's just gotten a lot more expensive to operate coming into this fiscal year. So yeah, that did hit us a bit hard, but I think we'll have time, and I believe the legislature will understand our needs. I mean, we do raise enough money in here to keep us operating. It's just the approval to access those funds. That's what we need. Okay, any more questions?
Or basically have the legislature provide full funding through the
From the general fund. Yes.
Yeah, as it was before.
That would be nice.
Yeah. Okay, anyway, let's move on. Just keep us abreast again, and then we'll
Okay.
address it. If when just bring it up when we need to, Director. I know it's gonna hit the fan
Yeah.
later on down the road. So
We'll be making contact with our counterparts at the legislature on this.
okay. So any further questions regarding the director's report? Okay, no further questions. Let's move down to item 4 or item 5, right? Correct.
Yeah, item 5.
Item 5, old business, Northern Market counter proposal continuance.
No, Mr. Chair, item 5 will be the GITA progress report.
Yep, gotta get my glasses rechecked. Sorry about that. Okay, GITA progress report.
Day, GALC Board Commission and GALC staff. My name is Megan Obispo, and I'll be presenting the GITA Monthly Progress Report today. So starting off with the Weddingale Junction Northern Market LLC, they have a monthly rent of $27,854.51 and an outstanding balance of $1,717,067.75. Their last payment was received on February 8th, 2023. And the GALC Board Commission granted Gita more time to explore a way forward with Northern Market to address their arrears along with increased revenues for GALC in the long term. Quick Space, their monthly rent is $4,029.02, and they also have an outstanding balance of $4,029.02. Their last payment was received on September 15th. We are just pending their October payment. Matson, they have a monthly rent of $27,733 and an outstanding balance of $0. Their last payment was received on October 3rd. Moving on to Trans Steel, they have a monthly rent of $500 and an outstanding balance of $7,500. Their last payment was received on October 4th in the amount of $2,500. They submitted a new proposal and a payment schedule on September 10th. The proposal is attached and needs to be reviewed and approved by the GALC board. Their proposal basically states that starting September 2023, Transtil will continue to make monthly payments of $500 plus an additional $2,000 in lump sum payment every fourth month, in hopes of paying all arrears off by December 2024. And moving on to AT&T, they have a monthly rent of $22,939.42 and an outstanding balance of $0. Their last payment was received on October 4th, and Gita and GALC are currently working together on their typhoon damage assessment. Moving on to Smithbridge, they have a monthly rent of $8,800 and an outstanding balance of $0. Their last payment was received on October 3rd. FCAG, they have an annual rent for their CY 2022 of $7,458.52. Their final payment for CY 2021 was received on October 5th in the amount of $1,205.58. We received their 2022 financial statements on September 15th, and a letter of annual lease payment due was hand delivered to them on September 20th. Gita was also informed that Ms. Katharina Radris is no longer with FCAG and is being replaced with Ms. Sharon Badar, who is a new operations manager and point of contact. So again, their CY 2022 annual rent is $7,458.52. Moving on to GIPA, their monthly rent is $8,000 with an outstanding balance of $288,000. Their last payment was received on May 9th. And on September 7th, via email, GIPA rep Serena informed Gita that a PO has been processed for approval for the amount of $48,000 lump sum lease payment. Gita and GALC are currently working on typhoon damage of the facility as well. Moving on to DPHSS WIC, they have a monthly rent of $8,400 and an outstanding balance of $62,699.35. Their last payment was received on April 27th in the amount of $16,800. And on August 17th, Rose DPHSS rep informed Gita that the processing of direct payments for these payments would be remitted soon by the DOA. However, no specific date was provided. And again, Gita and GALC are currently working on their typhoon damage assessment. Lastly, other items, F12 Polaris mitigation plan. Smithbridge submitted a written letter on September 6th on the following task orders and mitigation plan below. The task order 1, which is $500. Smithbridge agrees to retain PCR environmental to determine whether Brownsfield's grant can be applied for or used to restore the contaminated 5-acre site at Polaris Point. And if so, task order 2, which is $2,000, they would prepare a Brownsfield cleanup grant application to US EPA. Smithbridge agrees to cover the fees at no cost to GALC for both task orders mentioned above. And Smithbridge received GALC approval for this on August 9th, 2023. And that concludes my presentation. Is there any questions?
So choose Masi. Megan? Questions?
Mr. Chair, what I see is that Transsteel, they submitted a proposal to pay down their arrears. And from what I see in the Gita report is that they've already moved on it. They paid $2,500 down towards the arrears statements. So it seems like he's sticking with his plan. His proposal that you should have also in your packet shows that for the month of September that he would submit $2,000 towards the arrears. Plus he made the $500 monthly payment. And based on that, by August of next year, he should pretty much pay down the entire amount of arrears in increments of $2,000 a piece every quarter.
Okay, is there a separate item on the agenda to cover that, or do we discuss that now, or do we?
No, it's just in the Gita report. Just to bring to your attention, no, it's not on the agenda to discuss his proposal. I'm just letting you know that I see that he's already started making payments towards arrears in a substantial amount for a small business like what he's operating.
Okay,
And this is pretty much what the commission requested of him during the last meeting.
okay, very good. Any questions regarding Transsteel's proposal? Everybody's fine?
The question. Are we on a month-to-month license on this property?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
we are.
so I
And I
suggest
think-
that he continues to make, the current payment he's made, which is $1,000 more, right?
$2,000 more.
Okay, and then, yeah, so he's making a big increase on his arrears. So I suggest that we don't allow an approval on, we can continue to take it month to month, because we have known him to default before when we make an approval. So we still could.
Okay, so you're just saying to just continue with the month, you're for continuing with month to month and just monitor how he's.
Right,
Okay.
and we're not saying that we are going to really accept, because he's been so, we've been on this case for a long time. And we've also known him to default once we approve, we allow him to continue with a license permit. So hopefully he can pay up by next year. That's my suggestion.
Okay, any further thoughts? I'd just like to also note that the agreed terms on the acreage is basically definitely not up to par with the rest of the acreage we're leasing there. Just for our FYI.
Mr. Chair, he's leasing a half acre at $500 a month. If you increase that, if you make it an acre, that like what the others.
Also, it will come up to 1,000. Almost.
Yes, In fact, Matson is paying less and Quick Space is paying
Oh, okay.
significantly less than he's the second
Oh,
highest rent.
Oh, I see. Okay, thanks for the clarification. If all for it, to just continue with the month to month, and let's see how he performs. If no objections, we move on. Okay.
Chairman,
Commissioner
yeah,
Wilson?
just a quick comment. Yeah, I think at this point, I agree with what Commissioner Cruz has said. That we, it's helpful that he has made a lump sum payment of $2,000 in addition to his monthly rent, as Director Birch has said. And so I feel at this point that a wait and see attitude may be in order based on past performance. You know, of the 9 tenants that we have, more than half are delinquent. And I have to say grossly delinquent. We've got a few that are showing outstanding right now, but historically those tenants have always become current, you know, pretty quick. And I think it's just real important that we do need to sit down and come up with a plan regarding the tenants that are consistently grossly delinquent soon. And I know we spoke at our last meeting that we would have a working session with Gita regarding our outstanding tenants. I don't believe that that's been held yet, correct?
You're correct.
Oh, okay, I
Yes,
just wanted
yes,
to make sure
Commissioner,
because a lot
yes.
of time has passed and I know some of us were traveling, myself included. So I look forward to getting back on board to getting this working session with Gita scheduled as soon as possible.
Yes,
Thank
we'll
you.
work with Gita
Yes.
to get the sessions going again. And welcome back, Commissioner.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, any further thoughts? No further thoughts? Okay, let's move down to now we're on item 6, right? Old business.
Yes,
Thank you, Gita, by the way. Northern Market, counter proposal continuance A. Northern Market, yeah.
Good day, everyone. This is Mary Camacho. I'm the real property supervisor. Diego unfortunately is out sick, so you guys get me today. And then also please note, I was off island during the last scheduled meeting, so I will be reporting the things Diego has shared with me. I will try to answer as many questions as I can, and if not, I can always take notes and discuss with him later. But as per the last meeting that we had, Northern Market did propose the 25% of participation rent, and it was discussed to increase that up to 50%. In his discussion, and I'm so sorry, Ed Camacho was also on this call, as well as Carlos Verdalio, our deputy. But in the discussion that Diego and Ed, I'm sorry, they had with them, that they did look to increase the participation rent to 50%. However, they did ask that they continue deferral until the completion of construction. With that, the forecasted GALC sharing would be at 100,000 at a minimum, or based off of the participation rent, plus the inclusion of the $30,000 monthly rent. As per the timeline, this could look like a construction period to take about 4 years, starting in January of 2024 and completing all 3 of their sections by June of 2027. Did everybody hear that? Am I?
Yep,
you
you're
came in
good.
clear.
Okay.
It was clear.
Sorry, I'm having issues with the microphone and the speaker here, so.
You're good.
So once again, they are agreeing to increase the participation rent up to 50%, but they are asking for continued deferral until the completion of the project, of the construction. which should be completed by June of 2027 for all 3 phases.
Okay, is that going to do it for your?
Yes,
For
that
your-
was the update to the ongoing development and arrears repayment plan.
Okay, so Juice Bossy. Board members? So you want to take time to review it first and get back, or you want to discuss it now?
And it was, Diego did want me to make mention that this was not a formal proposal. He is just passing along the discussion, because if these are favorable terms for the commission, then we will go back to Northern Markets to try to, to iron out the details of the development and arrears repayment plan.
Does Gita have any take on the proposal? The pros and cons, anything?
Ed, would you like to step in, or do you want me to continue?
I would like to mention that in our many discussions with Northern Market, it's unfortunate that they're not able to make any type of payment at this time. And they really would like to request a deferral so they can build out over the next 3 years to 4 years, and then start paying down the monthly rent, as well as a shared agreement on the profit of the all 3 phases when they're complete. But unfortunately, at this time, they're just not in a position to make any type of payment. This is what they communicated to us.
Okay, that's the negative. Is there a positive?
The positive is, after it's all completed and done, GALC will share on 50% of the profit for the remaining term of the lease. And I believe the lease is like 45 years or something like that. So unfortunately, the first 10 to 15 years have these challenges, but thereafter, and in this proposal that we're working with them, there would be a minimum that we would hope to get from them, regardless of what the profit is. So then it could start paying down, and GALC could start realizing some of the shared revenue.
So this is a long-term proposal for any return on any investment. You're talking years now, and it'll be based on 50% of profit. To me, that would be more like 50% on net, right?
Correct.
Not the gross.
And what we are putting in this negotiation with them is that there would be a minimum. So there has to be a
Okay.
minimum made after the
minimum
build out
use
is complete.
guarantee.
Yeah, because I get kind of concerned when they say 50% of net, because net could always be 0.
Correct. That's why we're building
Yeah,
in a base.
I did bring that up to Diego
excuse-
regarding the concern with that.
Excuse
Yes.
me, Chairman, I'm sorry to interrupt. Commissioner Wessling here. Ed and Rose, thank you so much for sharing the verbal discussions, but at this point, I understand all of this is just verbal, correct?
We hope to have, yes, we hope to have a
Oh, okay.
formalized.
Okay, but at this point, it's all verbal. So really, Chairman Clavea, I don't see any need for us to be carrying on discussion at this point, because a lot of this was to be discussed in the working session.
Correct.
Okay, so I'd really just like to move on at this point, please.
And we hope to have a working session as soon as possible. Unfortunately, one did not happen over the past month, but hopefully within the next, Mr. Birch, hopefully within the next couple of weeks, we can have one. Unfortunately, again, Diego's out, but this our deputies here, myself, Mary, his assistant manager, we're all here until Diego is able to return. We can still move forward on a working session.
Okay.
Excellent. I look forward to that, Mr. Camacho.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll work on the scheduling, because I know Diego's out. He'll be out hopefully for not too long, but yeah.
Well,
And
we'll force him to call in on Zoom.
Okay.
And I do see and understand they're putting out a feeler gauge, right? It's kind of like a feeler gauge to see where some preliminary information if we're open to. That's why it's informal. That's why it's informal. Yeah, okay. So let's go ahead and set up the working session.
Thank you.
So just Masi for a report. Any other questions for Gita regarding that? Okay, let's move down to item B, the medical complex update license.
Okay, you've all received a copy of the bill the governor sent to the speaker, requesting that they include this bill in their emergency session. They have an emergency session that they're concerning the Guam Memorial Hospital. And in that, she'd like them to also include the proposal to move on building the medical complex or the GMH hospital, public health and mental health and whatever else is going to be included in the complex on the property that Ancestral Lands designated that could be used for this project. So the bill is before you right now. It simply allows, it would basically allow the Ancestral Lands to negotiate with the governor's office or whoever is assigned, probably might be Gita, the terms of either the sale or the lease of the property. That's the update for that. Right now, what we also have is what is ongoing. This is the bills before the legislature now. What's also ongoing is the surveys of the properties about complete. And we've also issued the purchase order for the appraisal at this time. But if you do notice in the bill, it lists 6 of the lots, not the 7 that we've authorized. And that's because here at Ancestral Lands, working together with land management, we've been able to go through all 6 lots and to make sure, looking at all the abstracts and certificates of title attached to it, to verify 100% these lots are government of Guam property, either what we would call crown property or non-ancestral lands that were owned outright by the federal government and been returned to the government of Guam and then assigned over to the Guam Ancestral Lands Commission. So these 6 lots here total about 64 acres of the 102 acres the governor was requiring. The lot that's left out is 2481. We have not completed our abstract on that. We're working on it now, but because of the time limitations that we've been put on us, we're going to go forward with the properties that we've already cleared out that have no ancestral land owners attached to it. So that's why we've limited to the 6 lots at this time. So that's the big thing in the bill. Of course, once the appraisal is completed, then we're looking to at least get fair market value for the property if it's a sale and or a lease. Of course, the governor's priority is to purchase the property. I know that an article came out in the Post and basically it says the governor wants to sell or lease. The governor doesn't want to sell the property. She wants to purchase it for the use of the medical complex. So there is an error in the article that came out in the Guam Post. Okay, there is a license that we prepared and submitted to legal at the governor's office. Oh, one thing about legal, we see that Assistant Attorney General Kristen Finney is back with us. She volunteered to sit in on our meeting today. AAG Sandra Miller had moved on from the Attorney General's office. To my understanding, she may now be working at Department of Revenue and Taxation. So I thank Attorney Finney for sitting in. I know she's not assigned to us at this point, but should we need her assistance, she's there for us. So I thank her for doing that. She did it strictly on a voluntary basis. She's not assigned to us at this point. Hopefully we will get an attorney signed by the Attorney General's office. But for the license agreement, you have that also was sent to you in your packet. The draft license agreement that we prepared outlines the terms and conditions for the licensee, who we listed in a placeholder as Gita, but there is a problem with that. Gita is also our property manager. So I have a recommendation to fix that. Basically for the licensee to conduct environmental investigations, studies, plans and analysis, surveys, soil tests, and all other related activities to assess the condition and feasibility of establishing a medical complex on the property that we designated over 2 meetings ago. And well, I listed Gita, and I do recognize as a placeholder, you know, for the governor, I asked for different agencies, which would be the best, and land management said they would take up that responsibility since they're currently handling the surveys, the different surveys of that property. So I would recommend that if land management agrees, we list them as the licensee if Gita see a problem with them being listed, because they currently handle all this for us and for GovWam, basically. But in order to ensure fair compensation, I recommend the licensee, and this is for compensation for what will be paid. And normally we've seen that, just like with we talked about Northern Market and other large operations out there that we lease to, we normally give them a year or 2 to get their act in order without paying at least for that property. So for us to get, and this is a big project, it's something that we know now is going to take over about 64 acres currently. That's the proposal at this time, and eventually maybe over 100 acres. But in order to ensure the fair compensation, I recommend that the licensee provide copies and results of all studies conducted on the property to the commission. And the value of these studies, including the soil investigations, the surveys and assessments, the UXO, that's the unexploded ordnance sites, and various topographic and archaeological and surveys that are going to be done, and this will be paid by the licensee, that all of this, the cost for all of this will be extremely substantial, and that all of that be submitted to the Ancestral Lands Commission, so that should the property not be used for whatever reason for the medical complex, all of these, the property would of course been surveyed and deemed useful for any other project. So I feel that will be a fair compensation for getting them, for clearing out the property, so they could begin construction or to start the project for building the medical complex. And the rest of it is the license that's attached. And the intent, I recommend that the license begin the first day of November of this year. And the intent is basically to allow the licensee to perform all environmental investigations, studies, plans, analysis, and what I mentioned earlier, to determine the condition and feasibility of locating the medical complex on the property. That's what I have to report on the update and the license. I would like if you were to review the license and we move forward on that. I'm seeking your approval of it. And if Gita, I don't know if Gita, if you have an issue of us leaving you as the placeholder for representing the construction of the medical complex, or should we, since it's basically to go through and survey and assess the property, which land management is doing it, should we move it to them? Anyone from Gita can answer that? I don't know. Mary?
My apologies. I had somebody appear at my desk just as you were talking, so I had to chase them away. Do you mind repeating your question? That's why I had to
Okay,
turn off my video.
currently we have, I place Gita as the
Yes.
placeholder, you know, for the license, because Gita normally does this work for GovWam and for the
Yes,
governor's
but
office.
we are
and this
also the
deals-
property managers, right? Okay.
Exactly. And I see that as a complication I talked to Mr. Joe Borja of Land Management, and he says Land Management could fill that slot if Gita is in agreement with it.
I can confirm with Mel, but I can understand why they would. Considering
Yes.
it's a role they already fulfill with other agencies. Let me get back to you. I don't want to say yes to that, and then I'm in the wrong to say that without reviewing this with Mel. But if you can give me till the end of the day, will that work?
Okay. Yes, and what we could do, I could ask the commission to, pending the feedback we get from you, that at least approve this so the governor can move forward with the assessing the property. And that's all this is going to do. They're already doing it now. But
I do remember
just
that.
allow
Okay.
them to do so, right? And pending the feedback I get from you, Mary, of whether or not Gita will be listed or the Department of Land Management will be listed as the placeholder. Okay, so
Let me
commissioners,
send out this
that's
request.
okay. Thank you. So commissioners, that's my update. And I don't know if Christian Finney has any with legal, if you would have any recommendation, Christian?
There's no, can't hear.
She's on mute.
Are you on? No, she's not on mute.
Oh,
Christian.
okay.
We still can't hear you.
Yeah.
Yep. No sound
Maybe-
at all.
Your headset might not, now you're on mute.
Yeah.
Maybe your headset's not plugged in all the way into the socket. Director, maybe we can do a like a
Are you able to?
Yes.
She's currently chatting on the chat box.
Hello?
Hello, is that you, Christian?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Oh,
Yes, we can-
okay.
there you go. We can
All
hear
right,
you.
great. So
Yeah.
sorry, that's not really going to be worth the wait. All I was going to say is I haven't really had a chance to review it yet. I had just received the packet prior to the meeting, so I apologize. I don't have any legal review for you at this point.
Okay, commissioners, unless you want to call for a special meeting where we could discuss this, or we could, if you don't see any problem with, because there's no monetary compensation that I'm proposing, but a in-kind compensation, which will be all the reports and which will be substantial in cost that we would have to do on the property anyway if we were to use it for any other means. That would be the compensation. And I feel that compensation would be fair, considering what we've done with other companies, including Northern Market, where we've given them like a 12-month or 24-month startup period where rent would be deferred. So looking at our history of what we've done in the past, I use that as a proposal for this, because it's not going to be, construction is not going to take place immediately. What will take place is the commitment of federal funds that I'm not sure when they'll be lapsing, but my understanding is if ARP money, and I see that ARP money is listed in the proposed bill, knowing that we've operated with ARP money, they have to be committed by the end of this fiscal year. So because of that, time is of essence to at least commit these funds. So that's why I'm asking you to move forward on the license.
Can
And
we,
maybe, yes.
Director, I do have a well, depending on Attorney Finney's recommendation, I'm thinking maybe we could do a preliminary approval pending her approval. That way I can just come in and
Okay.
sign it, or if we have to do a special session, quick special session, if time is not of the essence at this time, then I'm fine with that. Well, notwithstanding the board approving everything right now. I mean, if the board's okay with it.
Yeah, because
So
this
the-
license is supposed to take effect November 1.
This is Commissioner Camacho. Mr.
Yes.
Chairman, I agree with your
Yes.
suggestion on an approval pending legal counsel. It's final
Okay.
approval.
If it's okay with legal counsel, I'm fine with that.
Legal?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see any, just quick looking at it. I don't see any, anything that jumps out to me that's a concern. So I can, take a chance to review it, but I don't see any issue with what you're proposing.
Thank you, Attorney Finney.
Okay, so then we don't need the any preliminary, I mean, we don't need to have you fine tune it later. You're approving it. You're saying we can approve it right now. Is what you're saying.
That's not, no, what I was saying was, if you, approve it subject to any, any future
Oh, okay.
recommendations, that will give me a chance to look at it, and then I can just communicate with the director
Yes.
if there's any concerns, and then we can,
Very good.
We'll
Okay,
fine tune it then.
but if there's not, then you'll be able to just move forward.
okay, sounds
Okay.
great. Okay, so board members, if you're fine with that license, I'm okay with the license.
Okay,
So if there's a motion be made, it'll be a motion to approve the license
We would-
pending the approval with Assistant Attorney General Christian Finney.
Yeah, so we do need, okay, we need a motion on the floor.
Yes.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Camacho to approve the license.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's seconded by Commissioner Rios. All in favor? Aye?
aye.
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 Okay, any nays? I don't hear any nays. Director, the motion passes.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Okay, very good. Si Jus Masia, Attorney Finney. Let's move down to item number 7, new business. The AT&T lease renewal requests.
Okay, we received an email. It was addressed to Gita, to Diego, and to others, or Diego and then Kathy. I'm assuming Kathy's from Ancestral Lands, where AT&T is seeking to renew their license agreement. Their license is scheduled to expire at the end of September of 2024, about a year from now. And Mr. Centennial, I don't know him. I just see he is Jerry Centennial, AT&T Global Real Estate National Technology Portfolio. I don't know who he is or what he has to do with AT&T, except for the title he presented us on the email. But he assumes that AT&T has 9 successive options to renew their contract for a 5-year period. I don't read that into the current lease agreement. If you see Article 3 in the lease agreement, I believe that should have been sent to you. Basically, what he's trying to say is that based on Article 3 of the lease agreement, that they have 9 successive options to renew their contract. They don't have that, the way I read it. The lease will expire in 2024. I was told the intent of the negotiated lease that we have was for a long-term 50-year lease, and for the lease conditions to hold over, to have them held over and to remain intact. What I do know is that I was told by, and I didn't get it in writing from Attorney Miller, is that this would require, if they want a 50-year lease, it require us to obtain a determination of need or a DON from the Guam legislature. And that we should place an RFP out on the property. And this, of course, AT&T is seeking to retain their lease up at that property, but doing this would place a risk on their current leasehold. But I don't see any other way around it. Apparently, the lease was negotiated with certain intents, and certain things did not happen. A determination need did not go out for whatever reason. And now we have 1 year to take care of this. So any questions? I mean, what we should do with this is, I think, is authorize Gita to submit the determination need and to move forward with an RFP. I see that as our only option in this. Otherwise, there'll be AT&T will be in a month-to-month holdover.
I suggest we do a working session and discuss the possibilities with it, because I think there is the pros and cons of doing that. Mort, what do you think?
I have a question.
Yes. Commissioner Camacho, I think you're frozen.
Yeah, her signal froze.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, while we,
Go ahead, Commissioner Western. We'll get back to her when she comes on.
yeah, I'm just looking over Article 3 lease term, page 3 of the lease agreement. Subsection B does, I guess, the way I read it, puts the responsibility to obtain an extended term contract as defined by section 5127 subtitle C, Article 2, Chapter 5, Title 5 of the Guam Code annotated, puts that responsibility to obtain that for AT&T on the commission. Okay, I'm not familiar right now at this moment what extended term contract as defined by Guam Code annotated is, but it just says that it would allow the tenant to renew the lease for additional terms totaling 45 years, and that it would be 9 successive options of 5-year extensions each.
Okay.
So
Commissioner,
I think, oh, okay,
I could summarize that section for you.
okay,
At 5 GCA Article 2, subsection 5127. Basically, it says from the effective date of this law and notwithstanding any other provision of this chapter, no commercial contract, lease, permit, or license for use of public property, public real property, and related facilities by a non-governmental person or entity shall be solicited, negotiated, entered into, or made for a term in excess of 5 years, inclusive of any extension, option, or renewal. That means we can't do it. It may have been in the license that we provided, but we have to submit a determination of need based on reading that to the legislature. Only the legislature can allow that. Based on that section 5 GCA, we're not allowed to do so.
okay.
And it was negotiated, I was told, into the license agreement to move it forward, and that in good faith, Ancestral Lands Commission will move forward on this, but for various reasons, it was not done so. And the request we received, well, it came in time. We can still move forward. I believe the intent was so that the lease agreement or license agreement that AT&T has will not be in jeopardy. But I don't see, once you put an RFP out, we open it up to competition. It will be at risk. I don't see any other way around that. It's
Okay,
open
Okay,
government and
okay.
yes.
Thank you for that explanation, Chairman Eklevea. I'd like, Director Burge, Chairman Eklevea, I think a working session is due, is needed on this as
Yes,
soon as possible.
yes, I agree.
Okay, as soon as possible.
Yes,
And
very
we
good.
need data in on this too.
Yes, of
property
course,
managers.
Gita and legal counsel if possible. Commissioner Rios, your hands up.
Yeah, I just had a question, Mr. Director. Is this has it been renewed at least once though, this license? Are they allowed one renewal, or that's already been renewed before and they cannot, they're not allowed one?
They're
one
not
renewal?
allowed based on the law, even though
Okay.
they can go on month to month based on the Procurement Act. Well, Mary probably could answer this better than I can.
I
Mary?
think that term from the Article 3 of the lease comes from as we were negotiating at that time. Because remember, that was also inclusive of the back rent from when it was discovered that it was GALC
Yes.
property. That the intent was they would pay the back rent. It was settled upon, right? The number was larger than what the back rent was, with the hopes that we would be giving them a long-term lease, an extended contract. And so it was written into the lease that in the event that GALC is able to secure it, then they would like this many renewals. But unfortunately, that did not occur. It was limited to the 5-year lease law. So I think that was just placed, that is my understanding of this, that was placed in there with the hopes that it would have gotten approval as
That's
they were
correct.
negotiating.
Yeah, that's correct. I recall that. And I like clarification also. From what I take, we can go ahead and renew the lease provided it's not over 5 years. We can and continue to do that, but it's at basically our discretion. Am I correct? We can't.
I don't think so.
Not my understanding
Attorney
of it.
Finney.
Yeah,
Attorney Finney.
sure.
I thought we're
No,
under.
the 5 years would have to, it says inclusive of any renewals. So you're
Oh.
limited to the 5 years unless you have, unless you follow those other procedures for a longer term lease.
Okay, you're positive with that, right? You're not just like, you're positive with that.
I agree with Attorney Finney.
That's
Not
what the
just-
law
I'm
says.
Okay, so
Yeah.
That was my thought also.
okay, so it's kind of different than with like our license agreement with Transsteel. We can just go month to month to month for so many years with no issues.
That's a
with
month-to-month
this-
holdover.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
We
So
can do that.
here- Okay, I'm just clarifying. I'm not gonna go against our legal counsel, just clarifying. Okay, good. Any other questions?
I
My
agree, we
thought,
need a. Oh,
my thought. I think
Okay.
they're doing this way in advance so that we can secure, an approval for a longer term, longer than 5 years on the lease. That's my thought.
Okay, so basically, do we need a determination of need from the legislature to renew another 5 years? I could understand if we're gonna go like, more than 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, okay, DON we need, but regarding to renew 5 years, we're gonna need the legislatures to prove that, or do we have to RFP it out?
I believe the answer is yes, we do need one.
We do need to RFP?
Well-
Or do we, the legislature can just, approve what we want to do? Let's say we want to just renew another 5 years. Do we need a determination of need for that?
Attorney Finney?
I'm sorry, can you clarify your question?
I know we need a DON for like longer than 5 years. But if the
Yes.
board desires to renew another 5-year lease with them, do we have to get a DON, or can we just get the legislature, hey, we want to do another 5-year lease with this company? Can you just, give us an approval?
No, because you're supposed to have done that in advance of entering into the lease, but the terms of the lease that was signed provide that you were going to seek that determination, but it hasn't happened.
We were gonna
you know,
seek the
as of yet,
determination.
right?
Yeah, we were going to
Um,
seek the determination only for a longer, because that's what they wanted to do, right? Gita, they wanted actually a longer term lease. In the meantime, we did a 5 years while we were going to seek that DON, I guess. Gita?
That is correct, that it's in there because they had wanted a long-term lease with us. They wanted an extension, longer than the 5-year lease law.
Right, so now they're asking for to continue with another 5-year lease.
But
But we just-
if I may, I do think that the person who wrote to us, he is a new point of contact for us. That has not been our point of contact for the year since I've been in real property. And so I think he may have misinterpreted the lease terms. And so when he wrote to us requesting I would like to start the first year renewal, he was incorrect to come from that direction.
No, I understand that. Notwithstanding that, meaning if the board says, hey, let's continue with another 5-year lease.
You're not.
We cannot just do that. We need to.
You're
not the board.
You're not going to be able to renew it without something from the legislature approving it. Yeah.
Based upon the lease terms, right? Based upon
And the law.
And Guam law, yeah.
I thought Guam law says we can do 5-year leases without a DON. We can continue with 5-year leases
But-
without a DON. Yeah, right? But anything longer
are
than
you-
5 years,
Are you talking
That's
about
what-
entering into a completely new lease
no.
as opposed to
continuing the lease.
renewing it? Because the 5 years includes any renewals. So you can't just say 5 years and then renew for another 5 years. The law says 5 years, including any renewals.
So that means it has to be a new lease for 5 years. Then we're under the law. We don't need to do a DON. We have to do a completely new lease for it to be legal.
We would-
correct?
My understanding is we would have to do a DON if we're looking for an extended contract, if we're looking for an extended lease. So if we wanted to RFP for the regular 5 years, there wouldn't need to be a DON, but if we wanted to look to have a 50-year lease, we would. Correct me
Okay,
if I'm
let's-
wrong, that was my understanding.
Okay,
That's right.
let's continue with my suggestion. Let's continue the working session and clarify those. If we need to do an RFP, let's do it. I mean, what can we do? We're good to go. I'm just trying to clarify the situation, because I always thought we can do 5-year leases in all my years here since they implemented that new law with the DON, that we can do 5-year leases, but no more.
But
And
you
it was
can't.
inclusive of renewals. I didn't know that it limited no renewals of it. That's new to me. So can we just clarify that? And then let's move with a working session and see how to move forward with this. So Gita, can we, provided the board is in agreement, we have a working session?
Yeah, we could have working sessions the way I see it. But because this gives us a 1-year lead on this issue, it's not ending tomorrow. It
Yeah, we
ends
can just-
September. So AT&T, I know, prefers to have a long-term lease. We may want to proceed with the determination of need. And if there's an issue, then we could negotiate, I guess, like what Gita's saying, a new contract, not to renew this one. But we'd have to go through the process, and that would require an RFP, which still puts their leasehold at risk.
At
The bottom
jeopardy,
line
yeah.
is
Exactly,
We're gonna
yeah.
open it up. We just
Right.
simply can't renew this current contract by law.
Okay. Let's have that working session. Everybody in agreement?
Okay, so, yeah, but now's the
I
time to get
mean,
moving. I see Commissioner
I
Rios
mean,
has his hand up.
And we do have a year, so it doesn't have to be this month, next month, it could, Okay, Commissioner Rios,
There's a little bit more. So the,
go ahead.
I'm just, what about at the time that our negotiations for 5-year 5-year leases, if that license or that previous lease was written before we can only do 5-year leases, does that make a difference? I'm just curious. So when did the 5-year lease take
Yeah,
effect? What year was that? And then
that
what
deal-
year did we write that into that particular lease that allowed us to renew it 9 times or at requesting for 9 times? I'm assuming it was after because it's specific to 5 years, right? So I'm just curious though about that. How does that affect the law? Did my question make any sense there? Or do I need to clarify that?
Well, I do know that the DON was made law prior to that lease when we signed that.
Okay, I guess
That
that's
I
why
do
they were asking for 9
Yeah.
renewals at 5 years, because it had to have been after the 5-year lease law. Does that make
Yes,
sense?
yes.
Okay.
It is
Okay, that's
after.
thank you. That's all.
That's what
all
I
wanted.
recall, but if Joey or anybody or director. But for me, I recall that law was in place years prior to that.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Okay,
so
so-
I guess let's move, director, just let's have a working session.
Okay, any commissioner want to be involved with this work session on the AT&T lease?
Okay,
Commissioner Reyes?
I'm interested also, of course. And so is Commissioner Wessling.
Commissioner Wessling? Okay, and also with the work session with Gita for the Northern Market. I know last time we had Commissioner Wessling. Is any other commissioner interested in getting in on that one? With Gita and the commission staff?
Which one's that? Which one's that?
Northern Market. We
Oh.
have a work session we're going to schedule. The person that Commissioner Wessling said in the past that she was interested in sitting in on those in that work session. Any other commissioner like to be involved with the Northern Market? Because we're going to have 2 different working sessions here. One for Northern Market also, aside from just AT&T. So Commissioner Rios, are you interested in that one? Okay, thank you.
I thought the minutes specified who was going to be on the working session.
Yes, I just want to reaffirm
Yes.
that we do have people that will be on it.
Oh, and
for
Chairman,
Northern Market.
Chairman LeBlanc, yeah, had expressed an interest in being on the Northern Market working
Yes.
session. Yes,
Yes, he's on our call list, but now Commissioner Rios will join us.
excellent.
Okay, so we're going to set up 2 working
Is
sessions.
that
with
okay,
Gita.
Commissioner Westman? Is that okay? If I join in on that?
Excellent. Yes, welcome.
Of course,
Okay.
yes,
The
of
more,
course.
yeah, I mean, we get a lot,
right,
we,
thank
at
you.
least we have ideas on how to resolve these issues. I see the AT&T is we're probably gonna come up with either, we're gonna have to put an RFP out either way, the way I see it. Whether we do the determination of need, that's another issue. But I believe AT&T would prefer that if they're gonna go into this, they want this to be long-term. That's the feedback I gotten from them.
Well, that determination of need is a requirement for that long term.
Yes,
That is a requirement for sure. Also, Director, just extend the invitation to the Vice Chair if you'd like to sit in also on that AT&T work session.
yeah,
Given that,
okay,
given the option of and also to Commissioner Camacho, who I guess we lost her.
yeah,
I'm sure we lost her. So maybe you might, out of courtesy, go ahead and
okay.
we bring that option up to her.
I'll give them a call.
Okay. So any more?
So can I?
Yes,
And Attorney
go ahead.
Finley?
Attorney.
Well, I was just gonna say if you wanted legal counsel at any of these working sessions, I would say you have to make a request to the Attorney General's office, just because there's no one that's currently assigned to the commission to, you know, like who would just go, right?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And we did have Attorney Miller on all of our, if I recall, all of our working sessions. She did attend.
Yes, because she was assigned there. But
Yeah.
like I'm saying, just because you right now don't have somebody assigned, then you know, you just have to make your request so that you know, so that they can make sure that someone is present.
Noted.
Very good.
I'll
Noted.
send a request out. Thank you, Attorney Finney. And I hope you're with
And-
us on that one too.
Yeah.
And
I know you guys are overextended. You got a lot on your plate up there. So I do feel for you, but we do need your help.
Understood.
Okay.
Very good.
Mr.
Commissioner
Chair.
West.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Commissioner
Yeah,
Weston. had her-
yeah, Director Birch, if you could
Yes.
find out regarding the AT&T original negotiating team. I believe it was just former director Ngoko and somebody from Gita. On that.
I believe it was Mike Cruz and Diego who sat in on that.
Okay, I would like them to be there, at least one of them there at the working meeting.
And it was
for-
Attorney Toff. Attorney Toff, of course, was in that.
Yes.
And Attorney Toff is on that. Okay.
He was
okay.
very much involved. And of
Very
course,
much in that.
personnel from Gita were involved. We can
Yeah.
have
Okay.
Gita search out. See if
Okay,
we-
I
we're
just,
still
yeah,
with
because
them.
I have some questions for them. Okay, thank you.
Very good. Any further questions? Hey, we got good time, everybody. 3:41. Considering the you know, the information, the agenda, I think we did great time. It's excellent.
It was a pretty long type of agenda set up. We have a lot of
But
documents.
yeah, we got good time. Typically in the past, we'd be past 5 for this type of for sure. Well, anyway, okay, so if no further questions, let's move down to item 8, public comments.
Mr. Chair, we did not receive any requests for public comments.
Okay, very good. I'd like to thank Gita. Thank you for your presentation today and your updates and your reports. Sujus Masi. Give our
And
regards to
also,
her.
Mr. Chair,
Yeah, thank
Attorney
you,
Finney.
Kristen, for volunteering today's
Yes.
meeting.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, in full
Um,
disclosure, I was voluntold, so
Voluntold.
she was begged.
You had something. Commissioner Rios,
So,
you said something. I
thank
didn't catch
you.
it.
No, good, thank you.
Commissioner Westling. You're
Before
on
we,
mute.
yep, thank you. Before we adjourn, I have one last question for Gita regarding their report today, the monthly progress report. This was regarding the Farmers Cooperative Association of Guam. It says CY 2021 outstanding balance is $1,205.58. So is that outstanding balance amount only for that? I'm assuming that's a CY is for their 2021 was for that year.
Yes, that's correct, because they were on a payment plan. They paid 50% of their annual rent for CY 2021, and then they requested for a 6-month payment plan. So they paid off the rest of that, their increments for that.
Okay, but there's still an outstanding balance of 1,200 and change for,
That one was for the CY 2021.
okay, so CY 2022, there's no outstanding balance?
Well, they haven't paid it yet, so we recently just sent them a letter of letting them know what their annual lease payment would be for CY 2022, and they have not paid that one yet. They are
So
in the
that-
process.
Oh, okay, so 2022 is an outstanding balance, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so that should be reflected. So just so that we keep track up to current time. So I would imagine they haven't paid anything for 2023 also.
Yes, that's correct. They have not.
Okay, so that outstanding balance should reflect, just like I think all the other tenants.
So for
Right.
2023, we would have to they would have to submit their financial statements first so that we can determine what their annual rent would be. So we wouldn't
Okay.
know yet.
Okay, but
I'm so
for
sorry,
20
at the end of the year.
Yes, at the end of the year.
at the end of the year. Okay, but for 2022, we do have, they did submit the financial statements, right? And
Yes.
so we're able to calculate what is outstanding for 2022.
Yes.
Okay, and that should be added to that outstanding balance of 1,200 and change, correct?
They already paid off that 1,200. So their only outstanding balance would be for the CY 2022, which is the 7,000.
Okay, so then this whole information here then needs to be amended as far as Farmers Cooperative
Which one are you?
as
referring
of
to?
today, right? Because this statement is as of today, right? Yeah,
Yes.
okay. So they don't owe anything for 2021 anymore.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, so perhaps there should be an amendment on this? If they're already current with 2021, right?
Does it,
Are you
did the
requesting
report
that
come
she
out
put-
earlier? Is that why? Did the report come out earlier and that's why this is not updated? Because I saw that also with other balances. There's
I
just,
think
the
you,
balances are little.
There were two different reports sent. One earlier being the September 13th report, and then another one
Okay.
sent right before the meeting for October 6th.
Which was September 11th. Yeah,
So-
okay. That's
Oh,
probably
I'm
why.
sorry, I'm sorry. Yeah, the
No
one
worries.
that I received is dated September 11th.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one I
there was
have too,
one-
and the numbers are slightly off. So I see what you get, where you're getting
Okay.
at, Kirsten. Okay.
Okay, I apologize
Okay.
then. I apologize.
No worries, but
Okay.
Sorry for
just
that
for this
confusion.
particular tenant, only because they're the only ones based off of a calendar year, would you like us
Correct.
to include the, you see how the tabs are, right? I'm not, sorry, not the tabs, but would you like us to include a line for calendar year 21, 22, and then 23? Just so we see the progress of their,
I
'Cause
think that would
currently-
be nice, because then that
Okay.
would just, we could see at a
Differentiate
glance.
the years?
Okay,
okay.
yeah, just, yeah. Thank you very
We'll
much.
do that for the next one, just so that it's
Okay,
there, because
that's
they're the only ones that are different, so,
that's great. Thank you.
thank you.
By the way, welcome back again, commissioners. Westling, Commissioner Lino, Rios, Commissioner Rios, welcome back. Hope
Thank you.
everything's fine, family. Okay, since no further questions, we're gonna adjourn. No public comments, so we're gonna adjourn.
Our next meeting, second Wednesday of the month for November will be November 8th. Would that be okay at 2 p.m. Wednesday?
Very good.
Okay,
And thank you for the birthday wishes, everybody. So just Masi on that. It's 3:48 p.m. Motion to adjourn, somebody?
I motion to adjourn this meeting.
Okay, this meeting, it's 3:48 p.m. This meeting is adjourned. So just Masi, everybody. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Be well.
thank you,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for showing up.